Hello and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season number 5 Division 2 European section of the tournament. My goodness. Either way, it's going to be a two-game series between xGame KZ and For Friends Plus Krilly. I'm GrandisV and I'll be joined by Dani.
Hello, guys. I hope you are very ready for some European Dota. So this is my second time of actually casting xGame KZ. I'm a little bit confused as to who's an actual player and who's a stand-in.
To my knowledge, Reeves is the only player that's on the official xGame KZ lineup that's actually playing today, or at least as far as their Join Dota lineup is concerned.
Is that allowed? I thought two was the max number of stand-ins allowed in any game.
I did as well, so maybe this is a new xGame lineup, but who knows.
I'm just going to make the assumption and say maybe that person called Cat is maybe Skullcat.
I just
don't know,
checked,
Cat.
and his name has never been Skullcat on Steam,
Oh.
so...
All right, I have no clue. I have no clue.
Either way, 4FC, they're rocking their full 5-man lineup, and they'll open up this draft with a Chen.
Yeah, so interesting pick for Chen. Is it normal to have a Chen first pick? Because normally I just make the assumption that Chen would be not really tier 1, but maybe so better as a second phase pick hero.
It's very team dependent. If you have a good Chen player, I think he definitely deserves a lot of praise inside the draft. I think first pick Chen is a pretty decent way to go, especially if you can get your hands on like a Shadow Fiend or anything, get some early aggression
Yeah.
going for your team.
Yeah, the negative armor from the presence of the Dark Lord really helps the Chen creeps, and I guess Chen does have extra utility, and if he gets the Aghanims, we don't even know if he's going to go for an Aghs, because a lot of teams, I remember when Chen was first released, sorry, when the Aghanims for Chen was first upgraded, and teams, all of a sudden, people were just saying, oh, Chen Aghanims is OP now. It's not OP, I think it's pretty balanced. I like how they've actually made the Aghanims interesting, but not overpowered.
I think the biggest thing about Chen right now is being able to move your creeps around the map globally is absolutely incredible. For xGame KZ, they'll open up with the Witch Doctor and Clockwork, a nice ganking duo with Hookshot, and setting up for the Death Ward with the Cogs, and for FC, we'll pick up a Juggernaut.
Yeah, so nice synergy already with xGame KZ, like you said, with the Clockwork there to set up the Death Wards for the Witch Doctor. So yeah, already a little bit of synergy there. Juggernaut, he's a strong hero. We typically see him a lot if he's not banned out during that first phase, and he's probably just going to do Juggernaut things. He'll be pretty difficult to lock down just because of that spin. X-Game, they do have some couple of spells that pierce through magic immunity, though. The Death Ward, because it's physical damage, and I think the Hookshot, actually, the stun goes through BKB, does it? It does, so that's going to be very important if you want to chase down a Juggernaut. He's trying to spin away or even try to TP out with the spin as well. That's something to keep in mind. A lot of the times, Juggernauts will just go for the spin, TP out, and you can't do anything unless you have something to pierce BKB.
Yeah, I think especially useful this game is going to be the Healing Ward. Combined with the Chen creeps, it can lead for a very scary early push. 4FC will take out the Ancient Apparition, securing those two healing spells, the Hand of God as well as the Healing Ward, and potential mech coming out from the Chen. I think that's a pretty darn good ban. Would combo really well with the Clockwork as well as the Enigma, and then for X-Game, they'll take out the Broodmother as well as the Phoenix.
I actually think this is a really good Phoenix game if it was left in the pool. That Supernova would have actually caused chaos for X Game's lineup. Just having the Phoenix there, when the Clockwork goes for the initiation, then there's going to be we don't know what kind of follow-up they'll have, but Clockwork, he's going to be in the middle of the fights half the time, and if a full-on Supernova procs for the entire duration of the fight, Clockwork's most likely dead. It feels to me that Phoenix is a really good counter-team fight. Not really counter-team fight, but anti-team fight hero to an extent, if you can keep that Supernova egg up.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think more than anything, these two bans say that maybe X-Game are going to go for something a little bit greedier inside their laning phase. Generally, both of those heroes played in the offlane, and given the space, can be a real nuisance.
Yeah, so... Okay, we have the Lion pickup. Very standard support, very good support as well. The disables, they're going to be phenomenal, especially up against a Juggernaut. If you can actually get those off before he throws the Omni Slash, before he throws the spin. Juggernaut's not actually that tanky. So there is a lot of burst potential on the side of X-Game, which they can use to really burst down the Juggernaut before he really comes online.
Yeah, definitely so. Surprisingly, at least for me, is that Venge has been ignored throughout this draft, and I think that would be a pretty darn good pick. for 4FC. Just having a way to bail somebody out of the cogs is wonderful, long-range ways to cancel out the Death Ward channeling, and more than anything, just a really solid all-around support. But maybe 4FC have something else in mind. We'll just have to see. But xGame right now, their supporting duo is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the current meta.
Yeah, for the moment. Scarith Mage really fallen off. We don't see Ogre Magi and Jakiro as much anymore compared to the last patch, so it is the reign of Witch Doctor and Lion this patch.
Yeah, definitely so. We'll have to see what 4FC are going to settle on in their next couple of picks. They're pretty open, although they are kind of slanted towards that early mid-game push.
So, do you know what kind of drafts 4FC typically like to run? Because normally, okay, now I say that there is a Troll Warlord pick. Already we have some synergy here with the Juggernaut and Troll Warlord. Both of the physical right clicks, or basically both heroes, really work well with extra attack speed. And Troll Warlord, what better is he for? Attack speed. And that's also going to work with the Juggernaut Omni Slash, I forgot to mention as well.
It is very scary. 4FC right now, if you lose a fight to their team, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to be able to get a tower after the fact. In xGame, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to combat this. Their counter push is okay, I suppose, with Paralyzing Cast, Earth Spike, and maybe a Flare here and there. It looks like they want to take the Brawling route as they pick up a Bristleback.
Yeah, well, if you look at 4FC's lineup, though, if they wanted to, they can always avoid the fights and just go for that split push lineup. Well, sorry, split push strategy, because Juggernaut, he's probably one of the best heroes in terms of trying to go for the split push. Very difficult to kill. If you want to kill him, you're going to have to commit the Clockwork, plus probably both supports, because I'm pretty sure Clockwork and one support's not going to be enough to take down a Juggernaut themselves. Whereas Troll Warlord, he's really fast, really tanky, and I guess xGame could probably kill him off, but he would have done so much damage to the tower that would it be worth it? We'll have to see for the moment. I really think there's a lot of split push potential here for 4FC if they really want to go for that route.
Yeah, it could be incredibly scary. As far as what 4FC's next support is going to be, I think it's somewhat dependent on how they want to play this Chen. But for now, they're going to pick up the Bat Rider, securing that third core position for them. And, well, I think this is pretty much going to mandate that they ban out the Venge in the last stage, but or maybe not, actually. xGame have already picked up their two supports, but it is going to give them a great way to start fights on their own terms and a way to deal with the Bristle.
Yeah, I actually think Vengeful Spirit would be a good pickup here for 4FC themselves. In case they do manage to run into a team fight that they don't want to fight with, they can always just have the Vengeful Spirit swap one of the cores if they're caught out and just have them escape, give up the Venge, and just continue on with what they want to do. Because their late game potential is superior to xGame. Bristleback, he scales okay with items. Clockwork, he really falls off in the later stages of the game. Witch Doctor and Lion, they're not too bad in the late game in terms of supports, but they're not really going to outcarry a Juggernaut and Troll Warlord, really, in terms of damage output and survivability.
Yeah, it looks like, at least for now, xGame are going to ban out the Shadow Demon. Honestly, I think the Venge has kind of been forgotten in this draft, and probably would have been a little bit scarier than the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon Chen does offer a large amount of damage amplification that you can abuse, but outside of that, I don't really see any major synergies.
Yeah, I actually would like to see another Disable on 4FC, because they're really lacking Disable, aside from the Batrider Lasso, maybe a Lucky Stomp from the Chen, and a Lucky Bash as well from the Troll Warlord.
Yeah, and that's just not something that you necessarily want to rely on. I think you're definitely right in saying that they'd love to have an extra stun at their disposal. It's going to be a Wind Ranger ban out from 4FC. Would have offered some nice counter push, I suppose, for xGame, as well as some shackles that could be coming into play. Yeah, not sure if I really like that Wind Ranger ban. It kind of feels like she's mostly a lukewarm hero.
Yeah, she has her strengths. She actually is pretty good fighting up against those melee, well, basically right-click heroes, just because she has the Wind Run to fall back onto, but she just doesn't really scale as well as Juggernaut and Troll Warlord. xGame, is this a Corlina? This feels like a Corlina.
It very well should be. I expect them to throw this Lina towards the mid lane. Although Witch Doctor and Lion theoretically could be played in the mid, and getting an early Ags on them is really nice. I think out of the three, Lina's the most likely to get that extra bit of farm. But more than anything, it's a really interesting pick from xGame. They're really investing very heavily on the mid-game ganks that they're going to be able to get with the Clockwork.
Yeah, well, actually, I remember listening to another cast. I forgot who was actually talking about this, but apparently in the North American region, North American players actually think Lina is a legit mid hero in that she scales okay with damage items as well, because she has her passive to fall back onto, and especially when she has a couple of items to sustain her mana regen, she can spam out the spells and she's going to have a naturally high attack speed, so she can get things like Crystallis, maybe something quirky like a Desolator, just to give her the right clicks as well as falling back onto magical damage. I kind of like her as well because she is going to have the Laguna Blade, and that will PS BKB once she picks up the eggs, and that's going to be key when it comes to killing off that Troll Warlord and Juggernaut. But Rubik last pick, I kind of like it, especially with all these spells that the Rubik can steal this game.
Yeah, there is quite a large repertoire at his disposal, and is going to give them that instant disable that would be really nice for them. We'll just have to see how this Lina is going to pay off for xGame. I think she's kind of the hero that needs to work out for them as far as their draft is concerned. If Lina gets that momentum, as you said, can scale very well and get a lot done, but then again, it's not a hero that you necessarily want to sit on. To introduce the 4FC side, on the Radiant side of the map, Krilly going to be playing on the Batrider, Steph Style on the Chen, Eris Loco on the Rubik, mid lane Troll going to be played by Pablo, leaving last but not least our Juggernaut by Strangebee.
Playing on the side of xGame, we have Skipa playing on our Clockwork, followed by Reeves, who will be on the Bristleback. We have Killick on our Lina, Grom playing on the Witch Doctor, and lastly we have Cat on our Lion. All of them heading down bottom, so it looks like they want to go and put some aggressive wards down in the enemy jungle to deny the Chen any creeps.
Yeah, definitely good way to start this out. Cat's going to be smoked up, looking for this early fight, and their level 1 is pretty darn decent, with a long hex coming out from the line, and maybe they'll be able to catch out Strangebee off guard. Currently very deep into enemy lines, going to be spotted out by the Clockwork. They will be able to get the hex from long range. Lion will lock him down, but they can't get close enough to get anything further, it seems. Clockwork hasn't invested any points yet, but now with the cast bouncing through too, the spin is going to delay that on the Juggernaut, but won't save Eris Loco. Plenty of damage coming through. He's going to get bashed down by Reeves.
Nice skill there from Juggernaut. I'm pretty sure he's hanging onto the skill point just in case something like that happened, and rightly so. Unfortunately, though, first blood going in the way of xGame, and they especially need it with a early game draft like they have.
They will go ahead and block out the medium camp, which will disrupt Chen's ability to find creeps. They block out the large camp as well with an Observer Ward and the small camp, so the Radiant Jungle really isn't going to be that useful. It's impossible, I want to say, to actually get all of these wards out, even with just one set of sentries. They do have one sentry on the Chen, but that's about it.
Yeah, so he's just going to wait for the first spawn, the 30-second spawn, to figure out where some of these Observer Wards will be. I'm not too sure he wants to put the Observer Ward. Where do you think would be the most efficient place to put it? If he can really place it, maybe he puts it here, but I'm not too sure. Where do you think he's actually going to put this sentry ward?
We'll have to see what he ends up settling on. He doesn't know which camps are blocked yet. He'll find himself a Wildkin to open up, but yeah, this camp in particular, the large camp on the Radiant side, is an absolute pain to deward. There's just so many different spots that you need to worry about. Maybe they expect the Magic Bush to be the spot, since both the small camp and the large camp are blocked. But in that case, he'd probably be wrong with that sentry placement. Lion currently deep behind enemy lines, maybe looking for a courier snipe, and he might be successful.
Yeah, it's actually coming out very soon. Oh my goodness. Poor Shagbuck. Let's see if the mid player actually micros the courier. We see this a lot in high-level Dota, although that looks like it's not going to happen. Shagbuck, run away. One more right-click and Cats. He is going to get it. Bottle denied to the mid lane Troll Warlord Pablo.
Yeah,
very sad Troll Warlord.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. In a vacuum, Troll should have a good time in this lane, but getting his bottle denied hurts a whole lot. Lina is going to be very happy about that, and well, more than anything, xGame finding themselves with a nice early advantage, getting first blood and a courier snipe to start things off.
Yeah, so up top looks like Trilly going to be engaged on, but unfortunately no follow-up by the two supports, a little bit too far. There was the nasal goo popped out by our Bristleback here. No points into Bristleback, but he's got no one to really contest him, so there's no point in putting any points into it. I like how he's put the points into nasal goo to tell Trilly, hey, if you come too close to me, there is a chance that we could potentially gank you.
Yeah, definitely so. It is pretty interesting to see Reeves on a core position. Mostly, he's played as a support in the old xGame at the very least, but it looks like they'll change things around with all of the standards that they're running with. Currently, Juggernaut is without the mana to spin and needs to be careful about the Clockwork. Although for now, Clock is fighting up with the Rubik. With the Battery Assault level 2, as well as Cogs might even be able to kill off Eris Loco solo. He will be able to bridge the gap. Cogs not even necessary. And in the meantime, the Bat Rider also dies. He Cogs in Strange Me. No spin available. One more mana point. He will be able to find it. Shkeeper will be able to kill him off. The healing word's going to be dropped down. It doesn't look like he has damage. He does. Double kill for Shkeeper and 0 for the start for xGame.
That is the best start that I could see xGame have, and especially with the kind of draft that they have. They've been playing very aggressively in their lanes, trying to get advantages everywhere that they can. Unfortunately, mid, still a bit difficult here for the Lina. She's not doing too badly though. She's literally neck and neck in terms of CS with the Troll Warlord, so xGame, I really see them having a very good early game and hopefully keeping momentum until that mid game.
Yeah, really, after a bottle snipe and 4 kills going their way, xGame are primed to be a force to be reckoned with. This Bat Rider not having a great time in the off lane, and you really can't compare him to the Clockwork. 2 levels behind him and getting 2 solo kills under his belt. We're online for a very fast level 6, and really this Chen doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do much because his jungle has been so heavily warded. He's currently only level 2, and he just doesn't have the creeps to help as lanes. Maybe the Centaur can net them a gank somewhere, but a solo Centaur isn't really that successful. We'll have to see. They have the smoke, and it looks like he's going to look for a wrapper on the mid, maybe bottom.
Yeah, so let's see if this actually is going to work in favor here for 4FC. They need to find something, and getting Shkeeper, he's pretty high leveled as well, so it's going to give levels not only to the safe lane, but also the Chen as well, because he's only level 2. The Cogs are going to push the center on the high ground. Oh no, unfortunately Chen, he is isolated. Can he actually get away? He will be, and Shkeeper, he's going to play safe. He's just going to go to the left-hand side, so he's not going to get caught out. There was a TP in to the tower there from xGame, but it's going to be cancelled. I actually wanted to mention that the blocks in the neutrals for the Radiant side actually hurts Trilly as well, because he can't actually stack the jungle to farm up a fast Blink Dagger. So he's really struggling in this off lane, but he's not going to get that farm anywhere anytime soon. He's going to have to stack the jungle for himself after those wards have expired, which the sentry wards have expired. We're going to have to wait for this one too, but Trilly, he's not going to find anything for maybe the next 3 to 4 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes if he's very unlucky.
Yeah, by no means is this going to be a fast Blink Dagger, or even a fast level 6 for the Bat. Clockwork, that bounce up to the high ground of the Centaur is pretty cute, but even if that stomp landed, I'm not even sure if they can kill off Shkeeper. He's just too high leveled.
Yeah, he's very tanky, almost 800 HP. I believe he's actually the highest HP hero on the map, unless Troll Warlord. Oh no, Clockwork is the tankiest hero. I don't think 4FC can actually kill him, even with the Chen, Juggernaut, as well as the Rubik.
Yeah, unless everything aligns perfectly, and that's just not the case. Well, things are looking great for them. We are sitting on level 6 for Killick, and we'll have to see where Lina's going to drop this Laguna Blade first. But right now, if they get a good rune, things could completely fall off the wheels for 4FC.
Yeah, Lion's actually sitting in the middle lane. I think they want to try and go for a gank onto Pablo. He's picked up his bottle this time. The courier did respawn a little while ago, but probably picked it up in base when he TP'd back. So he should be able to start CSing a little bit more in this lane, because he's going to be able to sustain 3 Killick's nukes. But, this troll, he needed a little bit more of an advantage, because they've already lost essentially 2 lanes. They've lost their safe lane, they've lost their off lane, and Troll, he's not really at an advantage. He's just sitting neck and neck with the Lina, which is something that you really don't want when 2 of your lanes are losing, because they can't really even rotate their supports, because Rubik, as a solo ganking support, he just provides no damage. He's just a very weak hero in general until he hits that level 6, then he actually becomes a more utility-based hero. Chen, low level. Level 2, he can't do anything on his own. The creeps are probably the best bet for him, but he's got very few camps to work with, so a lot of the time he doesn't even get the creeps that he wants.
Shkeeper bumps into a handful of enemy heroes. All he does is drop cogs and then back off, but even that, it's just very annoying. Earthspike wide off the mark coming out from the line. Not exactly sure who that was going for, but right now xGame, they are in a bit of a pickle here. Troll Warlord is losing mid pretty hard, actually. Not even level 6 yet at 6 minutes in on the mid position, although with the Ace-Rune might be able to kill off Shkeeper, and this would be huge. Melee Axis is going to connect. Cogs are available. Turn on the Battery Assault, and that's going to buy him some space. Now Killick comes in from the side, looking for an LSA. If this lands, should be a pretty easy kill on Seth Seller. Even without it, they'll just right-click him down. Shkeeper dropping low. The Battery Assault's helping him. Ultimate over onto the Rubik. It's 2 for 1. Honestly, that's still alright for 4FC as long as they don't lose anything else, because the Troll did end Clockwork's spree.
Yeah, so at least for FC, they got a little bit of something, but the two supports had to pay with their lives there. So xGame, they still had an advantage with that, except EXP going in favor of 4FC. They got about 674, whereas 400 going in the way of xGame, but that's to be expected. 4FC, their supports are so... Well, they're not really under-leveled aside from the Chen, who's still at level 2. Rubik's not doing too bad. He's at level 5, so he is going to hit level 6 very soon, and that's when the Rubik's going to start being a bit of a pain for xGame. They got to be very careful with the kind of spells that they throw out, but sometimes you can't help it, and Rubik, he's going to have a bit of a fun time if he can get the spells without dying, because the amount of nukes up top, they truly, he is going to be stun-locked in place, and actually, can they get the kill? Firefly, one more right-click, can they get him? No, truly, he actually ran back into the Bristleback, so Reeve's going to be able to finish him off there, unfortunately. Oh no.
And the Bristleback really is the one that we haven't talked about much. Currently left completely free inside this lane, sitting at the top of the net worth chart with a 7-minute Vanguard, and he'll have enough money for his treads if he wants to pick those up. I don't really think there's anything that could have gone better for xGame. Maybe they don't lose the clockwork inside that mid-fight, but that's pretty much it. Right now, 4FC, what do they have to do to actually get back into this?
They're going to have to get a couple of crucial picks. They're pretty far behind. This is when the comeback mechanism is actually going to work in their favor. So if they can get a kill on the Lina, that's going to be plenty of levels on those under-leveled supports. If they can grab someone maybe even like the Clockwork again, they'll get a nice little bounty of gold. So hopefully the comeback mechanism works in their favor. They're going to have to use smokes though. But they're not really pulling any money into smokes as of yet. I think Rubik wants to try and save up for arcane boots, but I think it's a little bit too greedy. We'll see if he wants to buy that smoke or if they want to try and ram around.
They do have one on the Chen, but it's a level 3 Chen. We'll have to see if this is going to work out. They do have the net creep as well as the Hellbear Smasher in addition to the Rubik's Lift, and I think this Lina might just be dead if they can collapse onto him, but Clockwork's coming in from the side, so there is turnaround potential. Open up with the lift, back into the net as well as the clap. Killick's gone, or is he? He's going to get some help from the Clockwork as these hook shots in. The right-click damage on Killick is enough, and it doesn't look like Shkeeper can actually get any kills. They'll throw a cask. It looks like Steph Style is going to be paying the Piper for that Lina kill, or is he? They just need a little bit more, but the sticky napalm slowing them down just enough, and now the melee axe is over into Cat. It's going to be slowed down. The Firefly over the top. Krilly trying to look for Grom. Grom is very slow, and Pablo's in hot pursuit, but with the TP in from the Bristleback, they can't go for any more.
That was probably the best thing that 4FC could actually ask for, getting 2 kills. They got the Lina and they got the Lion. Lina, the biggest target there because she was a level 8 hero. So Chen bumped up to level 4.5 now, so level 5 is inbound, whereas our Rubik, he's almost got level 6 as well. So this is a little bit of an advantage for 4FC, but they need a little bit more than this. It is a stepping stone in the right direction though.
In the meantime, Reeves was left alone with the tier 1 tower, and he'll be able to take that one out on top. He did spend a TP for that mid-fight, after not actually joining it, and immediately after xGame are going to put a lot of pressure in the tier 1 mid. The momentum's still in xGame's favor, although that is much needed for 4FC.
Yeah, xGame, they actually have pretty mediocre push, so these pushes, they're going to come relatively slowly unless they're pretty much free to really take the towers down. But for FC, I'm pretty sure they will mount defenses. They actually have the tools for this now. They're not as far behind as they used to be. Graphs-wise, they're only behind by about roughly 1k EXP, so it's not too bad. xGame catching up in terms of that. 4FC catching up in terms of that, whereas Gold, 3k, it's not too bad for 10 minutes into the game. It could be worse.
Definitely could be. Shkeeper with a fresh hook shot as well as Bristleback just flexing his muscles in the mid lane. Should secure xGame this tower even though their tower damage is very limited. They should just be able to right click it down, especially with the catapult wave.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're just gonna glyph it so they can actually refresh the glyph once that tower's down. 4FC, they're just going to continue on farming their heroes in the other lane. So Rubik, they really are giving this Rubik space to get some farm. Whether it be Arcane Boots or a Blink Dagger, we don't know. I think he's just going to go for Arcane Boots. I highly doubt the Rubik's going to be able to get farm this game. There's so many burst potential on xGame that I don't even see this Rubik surviving a lot of it. I'm pretty sure he is going to be a high priority target just because they are well aware of the skill kit that xGame currently has, and they say, okay, we cannot let Rubik steal any of these core spells because it might be the end of us. Because if you look at xGame's lineup, they've got 3 very squishy heroes followed by the Clockwork and Bristleback, and as the game goes by, Clockwork, He won't provide that much damage himself. I've never actually seen a Clockwork really scale in terms of late game damage, just utility. That's all a Clockwork provides you at that stage. Whereas Bristleback, he's probably going to be the only physical DPS on their side unless they start building that Lina up for right clicks ASAP. But she is going for the Yules, so she is going to have some setup for her own stun and possibly solo kill potential on that Lina now.
Well, looks like Bristleback is priming to be fighting right now, as he probably should. Drums picked up by him. The Juggernaut currently hiding over inside the woods. If he gets caught out by a single disable, I'll just say he's dead. He does get the spin off beforehand, so it looks like he's going to survive, at least for now. But hookshot long range cogs in. He's going to eat an Omnislash on his keeper, but he still survives with 400 HP nonetheless. And it looks like with the Earth Spike, Death Ward, Laguna Blade combo, Batrider, Rubik get obliterated. They'll hex up one of the creeps as well and should be able to kill off this Hellbear too. Shkeeper's still low. Ranged axes aren't going to connect. Chen right clicks him once, but it looks like Shkeeper, Cogs, maybe a TP out, going to get himself to safety as the Juggernaut dies to Lena over in the sidelines.
Clockwork just pulled the Cogs and TP'd out. So he didn't die at all. 4FC, they lose 3 heroes and they get nothing. Absolutely nothing. I swear the Chen, he got the minimum damage for that nuke. The Clockwork just took no damage. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't a very high level Chen either. This is level 4 Chen at 12. It's probably the saddest you're ever going to see this hero, mostly because of the early warding coming out from xGame that wasn't even attempted to be dewarded by 4FC, and they're primed to just keep on going. xGame, they are going to have to deal with the blink on the Batrider, but really, if Quilly doesn't get these early ganks with the, or not really early ganks, but get these kills with the blink dagger, 4FC are in a whole bucket of trouble.
Oh, they are already in trouble, to be honest. So 4FC, I think for the moment they're just going to have to work on item progression and really pull this game as long as it can, because they do have heroes that do pretty well into the late game. xGame, they do have some potential as well, but their heroes can only do so much. So we'll see if pulling the game into the late game is going to work in 4FC's favor, or if xGame can finish the game off as quick as they can before they reach that later stage of the game, because I'm pretty sure they don't want it to go that far. I'm pretty sure they want to finish up ASAP.
Yeah, definitely so. Right now we have the Yule Scepter coming out from the Lena, so Killick is currently a one-man wrecking crew. If he can actually isolate somebody, probably not the Juggernaut. 9 times out of 10 he'll be able to spin after that Yule's unless the timing is perfect from Killick. We'll just have to see how that all pans out. Right now, xGame, I do agree that they need to end the game early, but at least for now they can sit back and farm up for the next round of items.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they're going to give the line a little bit of space to farm up a Blink Dagger just so that he can really be a little bit more mobile some of these fights, because I'm pretty sure Cat, they don't really have anyone aside from the Clockwork for initiation, so if the Clockwork's down, there's no one else to really counter-initiate, maybe the Bristleback, but he doesn't really have that great setup aside from the Nasal Goo, and no one can really take advantage of the Viscous Nasal Goo armor reduction. So if the Lion can get the Blink Dagger, he can be the one to jump in, throw the disables, and pretty much finish anyone off from there. Because if you have the Blink Dagger, Juggernaut's not going to actually be prepared for that. So if Juggernaut doesn't have vision of the Lion, go for the Blink, and if he's actually really quick, he can get that Hex off, and I see that Jug dead. Troll, on the other hand, actually, no, never mind. Troll and Juggernaut, they're literally on par in terms of HP, so they're both equally in terms of HP range. They're not tanky. They need to tank up a little bit, but they need so many items. Will they find the farm? I think they will. They're doing their best, and they are going to go for a smoke, and they're going to run into Heroes. Witch Doctor, though, do they have vision of him? They don't. They saw the smoke break, and they're just going to back off. 4FC going to play very safe here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go high ground in that situation, not knowing what's there, and xGame, they had pretty much their full force at the ready. Clockwork was the furthest one away, but he has Hookshot to bridge that gap, and speaking of the clock, his item of choice this game is going to be Necro Book, and I quite like it.
I actually do. It gives them more pushing potential just because we said earlier that they don't really have that much push. And it will also give them a little bit of damage as well. Not really from the Clockwork himself, but it's going to be annoying for some of the 4FC heroes. Although Chen can actually steal these Necro minions, so I have mixed feelings about the Necro Book, but for the moment I guess it is still an okay pick.
Aegis of the Immortal going to go the way of Reeves after xGame snag themselves a pretty darn easy Roche with the Goo, as well as just having everybody at the ready. They'll be able to clean it up, and they also mop up 2 Chen creeps. That's actually pretty huge. Chen was trying to bail them out with the Test of Faith, but doesn't actually connect in time.
Yeah, so it looks like 4FC is actually going for a push up top lane. Do you agree with this, or do you think they should actually just back out, force the TPs, and just leave?
Well, right now I think just backing out is the right choice, but when they went for it, it was xGame going for the Roshan, so they did have space to put pressure, but they just weren't able to shove it out fast enough. The lane equilibrium just wasn't in their favor.
Yeah. So, are there any big items coming up? I'm surprised that Reeves didn't actually finish up the Crimson Guard, just because it worked really well, like, especially up against that Juggernaut as well as the Troll Warlord. So if anyone's in trouble, then having the procs from the Oh my goodness, I forgot the skill name. Not the skill name, I forgot the item. Oh my god, Crimson Guard. It's too new, man. I can't actually remember this item. It's going to be useful, though.
Yeah, I would like to see him pick it up. It's also not that expensive to build up when you are farming as fast as Reeves, but he's going to back up for what looks to be an S&Y. We have a fresh Blink Dagger picked up by the Lion, and since they're smoked up behind Reeves, this could be a disastrous fight at 4FC as much as show their faces.
Yeah, 4FC, they're just gonna farm up the map because they know that xGame, they're all up top, and they're just gonna make the most of the space that they have now because they really haven't had too much leeway in terms of getting farm because they're always worried about being ganked up by that Clockwork. Because the massive initiation range, you always have to worry about it, and if you don't have wards in the right places, you're never going to see him coming and actually TP into the mid lane. Juggernaut gets a tower, there is Nasal Goo thrown out to slow him down, but is it quite enough? It doesn't quite seem so. Actually, Reeves gonna be able to catch up, but there is gonna be the toss back by the Rubik, and looks like Rubik is gonna be the target here. Poor Rubik. There's even a blink forward there by Cat, and they do secure the kill on that Bristleback.
And they also kill a handful of those Chen creeps. They are going to lose their Lina in the meantime with the Blink Lasso gank coming out from Corelli over in the sidelines, but will they lose anybody on the tree? Pablo going to make a quick TP out, and Bat Rider blinks down towards the south. Hookshot going to be wide, and or actually he's going to connect on this range. The Witchdarker ultimate being challenged, but a TP away from Juggernaut is going to keep him safe. The Hookshot wasn't saved to cancel that channeling.
Yeah, was there no Hex? I suppose it was on cooldown.
Yeah, I think it was used previously.
Yeah, if they had the Hex there, then that would have definitely been a dead Juggernaut, because the extra 2.5 second duration that he would have been hexed up, that would have been enough time for the Witch Doctor Death Ward to finish him up. Yeah,
definitely. Previous to the spin TP, as long as they get that off, could have been huge. But either way, xGame, they haven't lost momentum yet. They're going to keep on going down towards the bottom lane. They're going to have that completed S&Y on Reeves soon enough, but even without it, he's pretty much unstoppable. I don't see 4FC actually killing this Bristleback unless he dies to Fountain.
Yeah, and they could actually bypass Reeves in general and just go for the rest of his team, because what's the point in focusing down a Bristleback? He's literally sitting at 2k HP. He's so tanky, it's ridiculous. You'd rather go for the squishier supports. You might lose a lot of heroes, but if you look at 4FC, they're not too far behind actually, but because they are far behind, getting whatever they can really is going to help them. And actually Clockwork going to be able to hook shot onto Pablo, and there is going to be the Rubik in the backlines. They can throw the lasso onto Killick there. They might get 2 kills here. This is going to be pretty big. But they're still alive. There is going to be the Laguna Blade thrown it onto Pablo. He's going to survive, and they get both kills. That's really good for 4FC, and they lose nobody.
Yeah, definitely. So just inside that, that's a swing of 2,000 gold and similar amounts of experience as well. Really nice turn. Clockwork hookshotting a troll is always very risky. Incredibly good hero when you're inside close quarters and man fighting, especially when you have that much backup behind you. The Bristleback is going to show his face up towards top. He doesn't have any friends close, but yeah, Reeves not as easy to kill as that Clock and Lina.
Yeah, he's got the Aegis of Immortality anyway, so if 4SC try to jump on him, pop the Aegis, I'm pretty sure that's enough time for xGame to actually TP in their 2 supports there to help him out when he comes back. So I think it would have been a little bit scary.
He's going to run headlong into the enemy team. They'll throw him back into a hoof stomp, and that's at least going to dissuade Reeves from going into him, but it really shows the power of the hero at this point. There's just nothing they can do except for stall.
Yeah, it's 4FC. They just got to keep farming. That's pretty much the aim of the game for them. Keep farming, make sure that the heroes start getting big. And do you really think they have a chance in the late game? I think they do, but there might still be a slim chance that the Bristleback will just snowball out of control and just be pretty much unkillable. I'm going to give 4FC a chance. I want to say that they do have some potential in the late game when they start building up some of the items on their Juggernaut as well as Troll Warlord.
Yeah, I think so. One of the biggest issues with their team in the late game is that Chen is going to be pretty much a complete liability, and, well, if Bat Rider gets caught out, he's in a whole heap of trouble. Laguna Blade pretty much solo killed by Killick, although Reeves does snag the last hit.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there for 4FC, but sometimes it's got to give. If you get caught, you get caught. You can't really save your teammate, and this middle tower is definitely going to be pushed down. I'm pretty sure it's actually going to drop down to nothing here, and 4FC, they can't do anything. Their Bat's dead. No buyback on him available, and up top, Juggernaut making the most of that space. He's just going to keep on farming.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? Right now, the Batrider is pretty much the only way that 4FC can actually start a fight. Next game, they're just gonna go straight up high ground. Why not? They still have the, they don't have the Aegis, excuse me, on the Bristleback expired just a couple seconds ago. They are going to, excuse me, jump into the sidelines. They find Eros Loco. He steals Finger of Death, returns it into the line, but ends up not dying immediately. The Omni Slash cleans through too, and now the crit's coming out from Jug, doing an absolute heap of damage, and now Lina is also going to suffer a similar fate. 3 for 1 is going to be a trade as xGame look for a little bit more. Lasso on the poor Witch Doctor as his TP gets cancelled. Then he gets bashed down by Pablo.
Oh, that overextension there from xGame giving 4FC so much gold in EXP. 2.1k gold for all of their heroes. My goodness, that's about 2.8k gold swing.
Yeah, just like that. 2 bad fights, and xGame have found themselves in a pretty awkward situation. That swing is going to drop things to about a 2,500 advantage in net worth after that actually shows up on the graph, if I'm not mistaken, and experience is actually in 4FC's favor.
Yeah, so 4FC finally getting some sort of an advantage here. They have been predominantly behind for the majority of the game, but at least they have a bit of a sigh of relief. xGame essentially created them a little bit of space as well as giving them an extra chance there. So I'm pretty sure xGame this time when they go on the high ground, they're going to play a lot more safely. They played a little bit recklessly there, to be honest, jumping into the enemy base to try and go for kills.
Yeah, definitely so. Juggernaut pushing up towards top. Lion's going to put an end to this. And Juggernaut should eventually fall back, but I really feel like a lot of this wind is out of xGame's sails. They kind of wanted to stay ahead constantly, and at this point in the game, I think 4FC are pretty comfortable at the very least, as long as they can get the lasso initiations. And with a 4-staff on the bat, that's pretty darn easy.
Yeah, it's a lot more easier. Although they do still have to be careful of that line. If line goes for the blink forward hex onto the Batrider, there is a chance that he is just going to be completely bursted down as well. So Krilly has to be very quick. Very, very quick to make sure he doesn't get caught by those heroes.
Yeah, well then, we've stalled out a little bit. They were smoked behind mid lane, and Krilly is still looking for somebody, but actually can't find it. xGame are pretty much completely 5-man grouped up.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a Hyperstone on the Bristleback. Do you think this is going to be an Assault Cuirass, or do you think he's going to be going for something like maybe a mole? I don't like the pronunciation of this item. Ammonia? How do you pronounce it?
Mjolnir?
Mjolnir?
I'd say 90% chance that this is an Assault Cuirass. I think the Lightning Hammer really just doesn't do it for him. The extra armor is going to be really nice, and especially for base breaking too. Just any extra bit of push.
Yeah, I guess that is going to help in base breaking. I did forget that perk where armor works on towers as well, I suppose. So that's going to be quite interesting there for the Bristleback. So Lina, she's going straight for an Aghanim Scepter. It's taking a little bit longer than I actually would have liked this Ags to come online. It's going to come online pretty soon, but it's roughly at about 30 minutes. What do you think about the timing of this Ags? Do you think it could have come a little bit faster, or is this a decent timing still for the Ags?
It's definitely a little bit slow, mostly because Lina just hasn't really snowballed off of any of the ganks. They are going to find poor Witch Doctor. It looks like he's going for a deep warding mission. He's going to be punished dearly.
We'll have to see if they actually deward that. They're probably thinking, what's he doing in our jungle? They're probably going to have to look for that ward eventually, but they're going to leave it for now. Unless there's sentries on these heroes. Does Chen have... Oh, Chen has a sentry ward, so he's going to go for the deward, I hope. He's right next to it.
There's 2 potential spots. I think it's either here or here, so I'm not sure which one they're going to end up looking for. For now, the sentry ward is held, and unfortunate for 4FC, because if they actually took that away, it's nothing but a loss for xGame.
Yeah, just a little bit of a loss, to be honest. So we are looking at net worth so far, 14k net worth on that Bristleback. He is way ahead, but the 2 carries on the side of 4FC, the 2 cores, they're actually keeping up pretty well. I'm very impressed by 4FC, the 2 cores really keeping up, trying to find fun wherever they can. They are finding it, and maybe a little bit of the 3-2-2 there from xGame also helping them out in that department as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we still haven't seen what the next items are going to be for the Troll and the Juggernaut respectively. So for now, they're not sitting on that effective net worth that's similar to the Bristleback. But if we got a BKB up on this Troll, I really think that there's not much that xGame can do to fight into it. But then again, they do have that nice little bit of anti-BKB tech now picked up by Killick. He has the Aghanim Scepter for Lina.
Yeah, that's something that they really have to keep an eye on. Will they still go? Actually, never mind. He actually does buy the full BKB, so BKB is the item of choice. It's in all honesty, though, BKB is still not a bad item. It still gives you strength, and essentially, the best way to counter pure damage is to build more HP. Because Laguna Blade just deals a set amount of damage, and it's going to cap out at 950. If you build enough HP, it's going to come to a point where it's going to hurt a little bit, but it's just going to be more of a sting. It's not going to be half your HP. It's not going to be a
lasso into the pit by Grilly. They'll blow up the Witch Doctor. Laguna Blade turned into the Bat Rider himself, but it doesn't actually end up bringing him down. Test of Faith coming up from the Chen, kills off the Bristleback, and now Juggernaut looking for targets to focus. Lion on the high ground is going to snipe the Chen, but at the cost of his own life. 1 for 3, and it's not over yet as they chase out the Lina. The LSA connects onto the Bat Rider, but Juggernaut with plenty of movement speed should be able to chase down the 2 stacks of Sticky Napalm to up Killick. One more auto attack if it crits is going to one-shotter, but Flame Break is going to secure the kill, and a disaster for xGame.
Oh, beautiful comeback there from 4FC. xGame, they just couldn't pick off the Bat Rider in the end. He managed to pull up the Lion onto the high ground, and all of a sudden xGame, they were completely disorientated. They really didn't know who to jump on, and they used up a big ultimate on a Chen. They couldn't get anybody else because everybody on the side of 4FC, the Troll, the Juggernaut, they were at such full HP that they just couldn't burst him down. So there's just not enough damage on the side of xGame anymore.
And it's a really big problem. Bristleback wants to be taking these extended fights, but by the time the fight's extended to that point, he doesn't have a team around him. In that game, or rather in that engagement, it was just so quickly over. Nice initiation from the Bat Rider, isolating the Witch Doctor, such an easy target to bring down. And even though it's maybe not the ideal one, there just wasn't any reaction from xGame. They'll look for a Blink Hex, catches out 2, not the Juggernaut, he's spinning him away. Eris Loco getting dropped down low, but the return to Earthspike coming out for the Rubik. Witch Doctor ultimate getting channeled, doing a decent chunk, but now cancelled by the hookshot coming in from Shkeeper. It's a 2 for 1. They try to continue to pursue Strange Beat, but he might be able to turn, looking for Shkeeper. He does not have a spin up and ready, going to a Cog spin, but that's going to save him a little bit from the Bristleback. Heals coming in from Chen. It's not going to be enough to save him in the end, but he does trade 1 for 1. Really fighting up against Reese, but now he has the Troll inbound, and Reese cannot take this engagement. He's going to end up losing his life. Godlike for Pablo.
Oh, xGame. They tried to go for the 5-man counterfight against 4FC, and they lost again. This is 2 big team fights, and all of a sudden, xGame, they've lost all the lead that they've accumulated for the majority of the game. 4FC, they're leading by 12k EXP. Gold-wise, it's slowly rising, but EXP saying a lot for the beginning of the end, it seems.
Definitely so. At this point in the game, xGame want to be thinking about, if not ending the game, at least taking 1 set of barracks, and they're just not in that position. The core Lina hasn't done very much for them at all, and after a picture-perfect start from the Clockwork, he hasn't been able to do very much of anything. Now with the BKB up for the Bat Rider, the initiations are almost guaranteed. The Blink Hex from Lion isn't going to bother him as much anymore. And, I don't know, things are looking really, really sketchy. Bristleback's the only one that's keeping up, and although Bristleback does scale well with items, this game he just can't actually accomplish his job of running into the enemy team.
Yeah, he feels like a solo core. It just comes to a point where I can't even really say Lina's a core as well. She's just not outputting enough damage to really justify that role. The Bristleback, he's pretty much the only hero doing any sort of damage aside from the big ultimates from the Lina and the Lion and the Witch Doctor as well. But a lot of the time, they just get decimated while they're casting their spells because they're so squishy.
Yeah, it's really scary. At this point, I think xGame need to hope for a miraculous high ground defense, and well, they really would like to have an Aghanim Scepter up on this Witch Doctor to help in that, but it's so far away. Witch Doctor really hasn't been able to pick up much else. And they lose their line up towards top. Juggernaut looking for the Omni-Slash opening. It's going to be absorbed mostly by the Yules and Ghost after coming out from Shkeeper as well as Killick. And now the turnaround is real. Strange Beat forced half down to the low ground, coming out from the Rubik, going to buy enough space. And now lifting up the Lina, going to steal Fiery Slave, and now going to return with the damage coming out from the Troll's ultimate. They'll be able to flame break down the Lina and now look towards Shkeeper. Shkeeper bottling up. The Juggernaut wants to join this fight back in after getting healed up. Mask of Madness activated. The cast, however, the turnaround from the Witch Doctor. Ultimate's just not doing enough damage. The cast still bounces through between Strange Beat as well as Eris Loco. But the Bristleback just isn't finding enough to stick. He is slowing down onto Strange Beat with Force Staff again coming out from their team. Is going to buy him enough space. TP out from Chef Style is going to be cancelled by the Paralyzing Cask from the Witch Doctor. Buyback from Lee and Wine. Get back in this engagement. Really dropping low as Reeves bashes him a new one. The Juggernaut's fresh out of there, but now the Lina is dropping low as Pablo looks to reinitiate. Going to be able to drop down Lina beyond godlike. Reeves is going to be able to kill off the Rubik, but Pablo is still going strong. Does he get a bash? No, he's going to get hexed out by the Lion, trying to run away. Cask or Spike, and now Pablo is going to be bursted down, but that's just the Aegis. He's coming back, and coming back with a vengeance. The Juggernaut's still back in base, doesn't have a healing word to get him back up sustained. Pablo looking for a target to stick on. That target might just be Cat, going to slow him down with the ranged axes as well as with the S and Y, but he's just being kited perfectly. Pablo so down by 4 seconds, sticking Napalm, going to get bashed down as Reeves collects a beyond godlike spree.
That was just visually disturbing. There was just so much happening at the same time. I just wasn't too sure what was happening, but xGame, they came out on top in, I don't even want to say they came out on top in the end. They lost quite a bit, but it's still not too bad. They got something out of the fight. They are behind, well, they are behind now, and they do get a little bit of an advantage out of that, I suppose. The graph's dipping a little bit, but it's just EXP. We'll have to see if the gold graph updates or if it's still going to go up in favor of 4FC, but 4FC, they are really scary now. You cannot underestimate the Juggernaut and the Troll Warlord. They just last so long during the fights. You just have to wait for the BKB for the Troll to run out, whereas the Juggernaut, you have to wait for the Blade Fury to run out, because after that you can kite these two heroes. These two heroes, they're melee. The majority of xGame, they're either ranged or they have spells on their melee heroes to actually slow them down or keep them disrupted to allow that these squishier heroes to deal the damage that they wanted to. One thing I wanted to note though, the Witch Doctor in this position, he threw the Death Ward out and it just did no damage to the Batrider. Nothing at all. I just did not see his HP dropping.
No, I mean, he doesn't have that many survivability items, but yeah, it was very underwhelming. At this point, even a level 2 Death Ward just doesn't do anything. I think the biggest issue for 4FC in that last fight is that they just never fought with the Troll and the Juggernaut together. In the first re-engage, when Juggernaut got the heal from the healing ward to go back in, Troll was super far away, and by the time the Troll actually got there, Jug was on like 200 HP. He was in no condition to actually fight, and Bristleback, because both of his heroes weren't there, didn't die the first time, and was able to just continuously spam out those quills, and Reeves hits very hard.
Yeah, he's got a Bastion now, so I'm looking into an Abyssal Blade very soon once he actually gets the gold for that. And Bristleback is actually going to be pretty lethal now. It's going to do quite a bit of damage, especially when he gets the stacks into that Warpath. Oh, I don't know. He is turning into a monster, but I don't think it's quite enough to really combat these cores on the side of 4FC. If xGame can keep on taking those split fights with 4FC, then I can definitely see them coming out on top. But if it's a pure 5-on-5 engagement, xGame, they just don't have the they just don't have the tools to deal with the 5-on-5 engagement.
Yeah, I think that's what it relies on. We do have the Necro 3 up for the Clockwork, but outside of that, Shkeeper doesn't have anything else. And really, at this point, Necro 3 doesn't seem to be that effective, especially since you do have Chen that can persuade that to be on his side. And yeah, it really feels like xGame will rely on 4FC making a mistake at this point. If 4FC just sit back and farm up for the next items, wait for that Roshan, and then pushes a 5-man unit, I don't really feel it. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. For now, both teams are going to be reserved to farm up their own jungle.
Yeah, Roshan's actually going to come up in about 2 minutes, so not too far away. Do you think 4FC should just wait out for the Roshan and take it out, or do you think that they want to try and go for a pick-off and then when Roshan pops up, try and go for that Aegis? I think they could just go in if they really wanted to. I
think that right now is probably a better time just to seize control over the Roshan pit with the gem up on the Batrider, deward any vision that xGame may have, and I don't think they have to get too antsy. I think they can just chill, wait it out. I don't think a pickoff is necessary, although maybe it's possible if xGame gets spread out. But for now, it's going to be xGame to make that 5-man smoke, and well, they'll lead with Reeves, and let's see where this is going to end them. If they can bump into their Troll now, maybe, just maybe, they can kill him off while he farms Ancients.
Well, he's actually just picked up the Eye of Skadi, so he is significantly more tanky now. So I don't know if he's going to be the best target to go for, but they are going to go into the jungle and nobody's there. So it looks like it's going to be a wasted smoke attempt unless they turn around and try and go in the other direction. No, it looks like they're just going to go head back to their lanes and continue on pushing out those outer lanes because they are pushed in. Chen using his creeps to really push those lanes, so xGame can't really just try and go for a gank if they want to. These lanes are going to be continuously pushed.
Yeah, right now Chen has been pushing pretty aggressively up in the top lane with his creeps. He'll pull them back towards himself, but he does have the Aghanim Scepter now up on the Chen, and if Hand of God wasn't enough, now he's going to have at his disposal, if he wants it, a Granite Golem, which is absolutely insane, especially for the Troll Warlord. As we've already mentioned, a lot of HP on this guy. Add an extra 15% to that. Next game, are going to find it hard to actually get the damage to burst him.
Yeah, roughly about 300, 350 HP extra for that troll. So he's going to be super tanky. 3k HP on a troll. How do you kill him?
Well, I think it involves Lena getting level 16. Without the Laguna Blade at level 16, I just don't really feel it. That and probably you need a Bristleback that gets a couple bashes with maxed out Warpath stacks. And Troll has to be completely alone. If he's not completely alone, then you have a Juggernaut also flying through, and even globally they have Hand of God to keep him sustained. Yeah, Pablo is a one-man wrecking crew, and it looks like 4FC aren't even going to wait for an Aegis. They're going to put some high ground pressure now, at least forcing xGame back.
Yeah, so we'll see if 4FC want to go up high ground. It looks like they do. They don't really have to do this. They could just be there, just say, we are actually up on the hill, just be very careful, and they're just going to back off. They're just going to go back to farming. They're going to TP out. They're going to send their Troll Warlord down bottom to continue on farming on towards his 6th slot, which is pretty much every carry's goal. What could be Troll Warlord's next item pickup? What do we typically see as that, essentially, is that 6? Oh, it's not really 6. 4.5, really.
I don't know. Butterfly, if he wants to go for it, honestly, is pretty much at cap now. I mean, Pablo could go for anything.
Yeah.
If he wants to go just raw damage and pick up a Demon Edge item, maybe go for a Daedalus.
Yeah, Daedalus actually sounds pretty good so far. We'll see if he wants to pick that up. Oh, xGame. Just going to continue on farming. They're going to grab a 4-staff on the line, so a little bit of item progression on these supports, but they need so much more. It just feels like they need, I don't know, what do they actually need on these heroes? Their cores, they're farming whatever they need, but should they actually start putting some items on this line as well as the Witch Doctor? Because I just think that these two, they're just not impacting these fights enough, and I feel like for xGame to win, they're going to need items on not just 3, but their entire lineup.
Yeah, right now it doesn't feel like there's enough map for them. Ideally, they would have like an Aghanim Scepter up to the Witch Doctor, and yeah, we'll just have to see. It looks like they're going to give them a couple camps at the very least to push them over the edge for that Ag's Witch Doctor. Right now he is about a 1k gold short.
Yeah. So Roshan coming up very soon. Actually, I got the time wrong. So in about 30 seconds, we are going to see the Roche come up. Although Critly, he's going to try and go look for a hero, but unfortunately no one is sitting at the tower. They're sitting literally right in front of their T3 tower. There's no wards on the high ground though, so they don't actually have any vision as to where these heroes are. Granite Golem though, he is online. First one of the game.
Yep, and it's definitely very scary. Right now, xGame are desperately trying to hold on to this tier 2 so they have any sort of TP tether close to the Roshan pit. But it's just not happening. Right now, their map control is dissolving around them. Blink and Axe, they find out Pablo. Hookshot's going to be wide right. However, they throw everything into this troll, but Hand of God in back. He's still in fit fighting shape. Omni Slash pretty much solo on his keeper. He's going to hold on to that Ghost Scepter way too long. They lose Blockwork and the line. Hoof stomps onto Reeves. The bouncing cask is going to be annoying for him, but they lasso up this Bristleback. Try to get into the front of him. Now the troll going to town. Reeves looks to be losing his life. He might be able to kill off one with the Quills. No. Batrider survives, and xGame, they lose 3-0.
Juggernaut going to continue on chasing. He's just going to back off. He doesn't really need to. No Omni Slash, no Blade Fury available, so he could potentially get picked off if he overextends. But Killick coming a little bit too close to the tower. I think he should just back off. Actually, Juggernaut going to continue on chasing. He's got no bash chance though, but actually going to keep on going, and he's just going to back off. He's really saying, "Hey Killick, you better be careful. I am here. I am here." He's got no basher though, so no chance of a bash. But actually, Pablo, there is going to be the lift though from the Rubik, and they're going to get Killick. Oh, yep. The poor squishy Lena. Absolutely
nothing they could do. Pablo in that last fight, they throw literally everything at him. And the Troll Warlord, he dropped into about a third of his health, but this Hand of God on such a short cooldown sustaining them, that's melee barracks bottom, and they'll be able to take melee barracks mid too, since Chen had previously taken that tier 3. xGame, I think they've pretty much lost it at this point. They need nothing short of a miracle. Fort Man Earthspike's pretty good, but even that's not good enough without follow-up.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. So I think this is game for xGame, unfortunately. They take these towers so quickly. There's a battle trance as well. And we're going to see this tower get completely demolished by these two heroes. And actually, there's mid lasso onto Keeper. Actually, blink forward there by Cats, lifted up by the Rubik. There is a Death Ward as well, but not doing any damage to Pablo. It's just tickling him like a noodle.
Yeah, there actually just isn't anything they do. He has the BKB pop. Bristleback's TPing into the front lines. Last-ditch effort coming up from xGame. He's going to Abyssal up. Juggernaut, but he'll just Omnislash straight through. Well, the Jug might die after all of this, especially if he gets hexed up. It looks like the Troll might just be able to clean house. Reeves is going to get into a fight with Pablo. Just not a fight you can win. Bash, 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 bash. Pablo is going to drop down the Bristle Warthog, and it looks like Reeves is going to die. The Golem doing a little bit of work. Reeves, they're able to buy him a little bit more space, and now they Hex Earth Spike him up. Pablo has finally died, but my goodness, took them long enough.
Oh, it definitely did. They even had to use the Laguna Blade as well. That came off cooldown by Killick, who just respawned. So, nice bit of a pick there. There was actually 3.2k gold going to xGame just for those 2 kills, the Juggernaut as well as the Troll Warlord, and they're going to get a bonus. They get a chin.
Yeah, I mean, this is nice and all for xGame, but it doesn't get them back into the game at all. All 3 heroes that have died have buyback, so even if they could push out these lanes fast enough, they're still going to be fighting into the Troll Warlord again. That's just not something they can do. xGame need to do that another 5 times, maybe? It involves diebacks on 4FC, I think.
Oh yeah, there's going to have to be a ton of diebacks. Maybe diebacks on all the heroes to give xGame that chance. Oh, I'm going to give him a chance. I'm still going to give him a chance. They're really far behind. They're literally one team fight lose away from losing this game. Or even just one pick off. If they're just fighting 4v5, there's a 100% chance that they just can't win it. 100%. There's no buybacks available either except for the Clockwork. So Lina, she's not going to have any buyback, nothing on the line. So a lot of the DPS on the side of xGame, they're not going to have that second chance. So if they die, they are dead.
Well, at the very least, xGame look to be getting themselves a Roshan with the minus armor coming up from Reeves and just his raw amount of damage. This is going to be a double life and a cheese for their team. So maybe, just maybe, this is going to give them hope, but for FC, they could feasibly contest this.
If they come in time, actually, Roshan looks like it is definitely going to be going down in time. So Reeves, he gets the Aegis. Cheese is actually still in the pool. He's actually going to wait there for a while, and looks like it's going to be going on to Killick. Yeah. Do you think Killick is the best person to hold the cheese?
It's probably as good as they've got. Maybe you pass the cheese to the Bristleback if he loses the Aegis, but honestly, I don't think anybody else is better suited for it. Lina just dies so quickly. Maybe you even give the Aegis to the Lina and cheese to the Bristleback.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a pretty good plan, but actually I heard a call. Sorry, that wasn't a cogs, that was a hook shot. Only connecting onto a Ancient, I believe. Oh, xGame. They're really playing ballsy. They're gonna go mid.
I think this is pretty much the only course of action for them, though. If you sit back and farm, I think you just straight up lose. So xGame, they're going to bank everything on this next Aegis fight with a 6-slotted Bristleback, or as close to it as you're going to get. Maybe replace the Vanguard for Heart, but at that point, it's probably irrelevant anyway. They're going to get to the high ground, they'll smoke up behind the Bristleback, and just leave Reeves to go towards the high ground.
Yeah, I think they're trying to force out the lasso on that Batrider just to pop the Aegis on Reeves. Actually, there's a big link forward by Cat. Looks like he might die. Never mind, there's a bit stun there onto Pablo. Even using the Death Ward as well, but actually Juggernaut going to go for the Omni Slash onto Grom as well as our Lion and actually Killick. Looks like he's going to have to pop the Ghost Stepper to survive through that and going to be chased up by the Juggernaut. Stun going to miss, and Killick, he is definitely dead. Never mind, he pops the cheese. He is going to survive, but Reeves in the back line is going to definitely die there too. Pablo, 4 down. Actually, there's going to be the Aegis popped. Killick's still running away, and he does manage to survive with the cheese there, but Reeves, he's by himself. He can't do anything. Slowed up to oblivion. No chance for him to escape, and that's going to be the end there of our Bristleback.
And the end of the game, as xGame called GG. That early start looked so good for them. At one point, they were 7-1. They got the Courier Snipe for the Bottle of Pablo, but it ended up not mattering. I think that xGame, they need to go for something a little bit more stable when it comes to their draft that scales better throughout the entirety of the game. If they really want a chance of winning, all it took was 1 or 2 bad fights. We'll have to see if they do it. Here on HeflaTV, we'll have game number 2 coming up shortly.